Hey y'all. Today we are speaking on being uncomfortable on purpose, trusting God when life stops feeling safe. Okay? Come on now. It's like I am putting myself in this predicament, or I'm allowing this to happen and not knowing the destination. You know what I'm saying? If you're walking unknowingly, that is the beautiful word of faith. You know what I'm saying? There's always a strange hallway between you and who you were and who you're becoming. Okay. So you got three different versions of you. Make sure you pick the correct one. Within this hallway, it echoes, it stretches, it feels uncertain. Okay. That's where faith usually lives. Not in comfort, but in movement. Not in certainty, but in surrender. This episode can sit right in that sacred tension with Jesus Christ walking right beside you, okay? Sometimes God answers your prayers by making your old life stop fitting, okay? Sometimes God answers your prayers by making your old life stop fitting. And suddenly, what used to feel comfortable starts feeling tight, unfamiliar, even lonely, okay? But maybe discomfort isn't punishment. Maybe it's proof you're growing. Sometimes when we feel uncomfortable, the first thing to do is to sit here and freak out. And it's just like, oh no, I'm doing this again. Things are not working again. I don't know what is going on. I've been sitting here. I've been praying. I have been doing everything right. Okay. I know I'm not the only one. Sometimes within that, you have to understand maybe what you've been praying on is an answered prayer, and you're becoming a version of you never met. You don't know how this version is supposed to go, the right things and the wrong things. That's why you over there freaking out. Relax and pray about it, okay? If you pray about it, you're going to get the answer just as long as you sit in that moment long enough to hear God speak to you, okay? All right. Lately, I've, me, I've been realizing something. Comfort and calling don't always live in the same room, okay? You can't sit here and be comfortable and ask God to make you higher, put you in better positions. You can't pick two. It got to be one or the other. Sometimes I ask God for change, but when change actually comes, I panic. Mind you, I'm always panicking, okay? That's why you have to make sure you're aligned properly with your prayer. Like I told y'all last time, be careful what you pray for. Because if you pray for something new and everything old leaves, and it starts vanishing. Don't be sitting here going back on prayer. God probably looking at you like, yo, I just answered your prayer. What else are you asking me for? Because think about it. Comfort feels safe, even when it hurts, even when you come across that familiar chaos. And faith asks me to move without seeing the full map, okay? You got to be okay with walking and not knowing where you're going. If your faith is intact, it shouldn't matter. You got to look at it like, yo, I'm sitting here walking with Jesus Christ. God got us both. So I can't sit here and worry and fear, you know? I think a lot of us wants God to lead us, but we still want directions written. We want the reassurance before giving the obedience. But what happens when God says, trust me before you understand me? You can't sit here and trust me and expect you to give you all the directions. If I tell you exactly what I'm about to put you through, you going to go the other way. I'm not doing that. I see the end goal. You don't, but you have to trust me enough to know that I am control and I'm not going to steer you wrong. Okay? Don't get me wrong. I know Losing control. And when you say control, a lot of people are probably looking like you always want to be in control. You don't need to know any and everything. But think about it. If you're sitting here and you're looking at your life and you're like, wait a minute, if I make this wrong move, that means I got to start from jump again, or I don't even know where I'm going if I don't do what I used to do. The next time you look at your life, keep that line intact. I'm doing something different from what I used to do. Duh. If you trying to be a new version of you, you can't keep moving the same way you've been, because all you're going to do is keep going around in circle, in circle, in circle. You keep going in circles and God told you to turn right. It looks like you enjoying the ride. If you enjoy the ride, do what you do, but you're delaying your blessings, okay? That's the hard part about it. Discomfort doesn't mean that God left you, okay? Feeling uneasy does not mean that you're abandoned, okay? This was something for me personally that I used to always struggle with. And I'm just like, I don't like how I'm feeling. Something doesn't feel right. It's not that it doesn't feel right. It's just unknown. And a lot of people freak out when they come across situations and feelings that feel unknown. Why? Because that control is out. You know what I'm saying? You're no longer in control. So sit there and go for the ride. Mind you, even within that, God might put you across some things and you're like, but wait a minute, we were just on the same page. Yeah, you still on the same page. But I look at it for me personally. I don't know how y'all feel out there. I feel when you sit here and you pray on something, God's going to test you exactly what you prayed on. You can't sit here and pray for patience and then you come across a situation that could potentially put you out of character if you do not use discernment in the correct way, and you sit here and be freaking out, be rude, do all that cursing and all that. And it's like, how are you sitting here for patience? And I just gave you something to see if you were even close to getting it. So that's why discernment is so important. You have to understand life will go on forever in life, but you have to start looking at things differently, okay? Growth also feels like spiritual growing pains, okay? When you sit here and you keep going back and forth and you're just like, yo, I prayed on this. I've been trying to be a better version of me. Sometimes, more than likely, I'm not even going to say sometimes, I would like to say all the time until you get right. You are going to fall back into that version that you used to be. Mind you, you're turning into someone new. It's nothing but spiritual growing pains. You know, you're going to fall. That's just what it is. You better listen to Donnie McClurkin. You're going to fall and you better get back up. Okay? Now, if you fall and you stay there, that's on you. That ain't nobody's fault. You better make sure your faith is intact. You can even pray about that. Like, Lord, I keep falling. I keep going back. I don't know what's going on. Have your time with God. Okay? God shifts environments when your spirit has outgrown them, okay? Don't nobody want to talk about that. You want to keep being around the same environments, but these same environments could have broke you and turned you into that version that you're trying to get out of. You have to be able to sit here and look at it and be like, you know what? I really do want this, but it had some of my worst moments that I ever went through in life. How can I keep growing and still surround myself around this? So that's another thing. You better pray about that. All right. Sometimes peace doesn't arrive as comfort. Sometimes peace arrives as knowing you're finally being honest with yourself, okay? Don't nobody want to talk about that too. Nobody want to sit there and look at themselves and be like, you know what? It was me. I was wrong. I did all of it. I had no help in it. It was fully me. If you can't be accountable within yourself, how are you accepting and yeah, like how are you expecting accountability from any and everybody else out there. It starts with you. If you can't do that with you, how would you even have the discernment to even know you're receiving accountability from other people in other situations? Or in your mind, do you keep telling yourself, nah, that ain't it because I don't come out on the end goal in that? Stop thinking everything is about you, okay? That's the biggest thing that I had to learn. Every single thing is not about you. Every situation does not have to be a Gina wins. What if in order for things to keep going forward in life, Gina has to lose to let everybody else win? Sometimes when you lose, your eyesight gets so much better. When you lose in a season and you look at your environment, you look at the other people, you look at their situations, and it's just like, you know what? My time in life, it's hard right now, but I did not know exactly what you were going through. Or I'm really looking at you now and I'm not paying attention to me because I'll be all right. I'm just focusing on you because I didn't know you were in the midst of that. Sometimes it's okay to fail, to let others get where they're going. Because think about it. Maybe your failure is an inspiration to help move someone else, you know? Nobody want to see that either. We always got to be number one. No, I don't want to be number one because mind you, I'm living my life through God's will. Maybe I wasn't supposed to make it in this season. Maybe it was your turn to make it. And I still had to sit here and build on my character for the time being before my time to shine ever showed up. Everybody can't shine at the same time. Okay? All right. A lot of people, nah. You have to be okay with losing to move forward. That's just what it is. Okay? You may still have fear and faith at the same time. Okay? Mind you, you talking to the number one. I'm sitting here and I'm like, yes, Lord, that prayer was great. And then when something happens, here comes that fear crawling back in. Nah. Nah, nah, nah. You can have that fear, but that faith has to always override it. Because if you let the fear be equal with the faith, either one can win and take over at that point. You can be nervous and then sit here and pray about it and move forward and call it a day. Okay? Trusting God is choosing not to run backward. Okay? You can't sit here and be like, God, I heard you and I'm moving forward. And then when things start to look uncertain and you don't know what's going on, it's like, but wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to just sit here for a good little minute. You know, maybe things can change. I don't know. I honestly, I struggle with this one so bad. I would say on this, have that time to sit here and pray about it because think about it, if you're literally stuck or still in the situation and you always feel the need to start juggling, let me go forward, wait a minute, let me go back. Really look at it and pray about it because I don't have the answers. Only God will have the answer at that. You can even sit here and pray, like, Lord, why am I still in the midst of this? Even when I try to move forward, I'm still here. What are you trying to teach me in my current situation? It has to be something. I actually prayed on this, and the answer I got, it was more so of I'm building your character right now because it's like you there, but I really need you to get there and stay there. So, yeah, I better talk to God. All right. You can't heal and stay the same. A lot of people do not understand this. When I finally understood it, it made sense. And that's when the peace came in. You know what I'm saying? Because God is going to sit here and stretch your identity. Okay? The old habits are going to stop fitting. Old relationships start to feel unfamiliar, and a lot of people don't like it. And it's like, oh no, you being funny money. No, I'm not. I'm growing, and where we are, we just no longer align. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I hope you have a bad life. No, I hope you do great in life. But what we got going on right now, it doesn't align where I'm trying to go in life. That's it. Also, this was a big one. You began crying due to all the realizations you come across when you were different versions of you. And I think that is one of the best parts of growing, because when you're able to sit here and, the favorite word, be accountable, when that accountability ties in, and it's just like, yo, I was something different when I was the bad versions of me. But I'm not going to sit here and act like it didn't happen. It did happen, but I'm moving forward. And of course, you sitting here and you're crying because it's like, yo, I didn't even know I got down like that. I didn't even know I was even possible. I even thought the way I did, but it's okay. When you think about the old you, it just reminds you we can't go back. Okay. Transformation is a wardrobe change for the soul. Some things stop fitting because you're no longer built for them, okay? Maybe you had to be low to be able to be in that situation, but if you're growing, you can no longer be there anymore, all right? Before we leave this episode, okay? Take a second to breathe and let these settle into your spirit. What we always do day to day. You get off work, school, or just coming home from the day out. Before you go in, we all do it. I am not the only one. You sit in your car for hours to just, quotations, breathe, just to think and remind yourself about, you know what? Okay, I really got to go upstairs. I really got to get things moving. I'm tired from the day as it is. Before you go upstairs and you sitting in that car for hours, I want you to remind yourself of these, okay? I can be uncomfortable and still be protected. I do not need all the answers to keep moving forward. I release the need to control every outcome. I'm going to say that one again for you and me. I release the need to control every outcome. Faith can exist along fear. I choose faith anyway. Lastly, I am becoming the version of myself God always intended. Okay? Please leave this episode knowing that uncomfortable seasons are not empty rooms. They are holy hallways. And Jesus Christ is walking every step beside you, okay? You are not alone. Mind you, if this episode hits you and you want to talk, go to theomgina.com. Schedule a call and let's get on an episode.